Hey, it's been a while. I know. And I haven't really had much to do a video about. Look, the wrestling media is as bad and as stupid as it's always been. But I just didn't feel that inspired. But not to fear, because our good friend Dave Meltzer finally gave me something to talk about. And that is one Mr. Bret Hitman Hart. You see, okay, this is great. All right, so Dave reported that. Well, actually, let me go back to the beginning. Okay, so Bret is managing FTR at an indie show in June. FTR is in AEW, and he's managing them against some other AEW wrestlers. I think Brock Anderson and Brian Pillman Jr., and they're being managed by Arn Anderson, who is in AEW. So, apparently, some people in AEW looked at that, and they wondered, well, why aren't we just doing this in AEW? Since all the wrestlers in AEW and the other managers in AEW. And instead of maybe asking a few people, they came to the conclusion that, well, maybe they're doing it on an indie show because Bret's not allowed to do it in AEW. Now, how would you come to that conclusion? Well, if he's not allowed to do it in AEW, then that can only mean that he must have signed something with the WWE that prohibits him from doing something like that in AEW. That's the conclusion they came to. Now, none of these people asked Bret about it. They just came to this conclusion. Deductive reasoning, right? Good stuff. And apparently, one of them or some of them said this to Dave Meltzer. And instead of finding out, for sure, he went on Wrestling Observer Radio and said that people in AEW believe that Bret must have quietly signed a Legends deal with WWE that prohibits him from doing anything in AEW. And he reported that. And then people on the internet believed it. And then that sparked a whole debate about whether or not it was cool for Bret Hart to take Vince McMahon's money. Which has got to be the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Of course it's cool for Bret to take Vince McMahon's money. If anybody should be taking Vince McMahon's money, it's Bret Hart. Okay? But it turns out that, well, maybe that was not accurate. So all these people, they assumed and they concluded that Bret must have signed a deal with WWE because he's managing FTR on an indie show and not an AEW show. And Dave Meltzer reported it. And then a bunch of people got pissed off at Vince McMahon. Some people got pissed off at Bret for allegedly signing a Legend deal. Now, Bret came out and said that. Oh, another thing is that because if he's prohibited from doing anything in AEW, then he can't participate in the Owen Hart Cup festivities, which are going on in AEW. For those of y'all who don't know, Owen is Bret's brother. Owen died in an accident back in 1999 at a WWE show. So AEW is doing this tribute thing to him because Owen's widow doesn't want anything to do with WWE, which is absolutely the correct take. Okay? You cannot blame her for that. So they're doing it there. And I guess some people hoped or assumed that Bret would show up and hand out the trophy or something, okay? Even though Bret does not get along with Owen's widow, therefore, he just may not be there just because, okay? But people put two and two together and decided that it equaled 12. So Bret's managing FTR on the indie show. Therefore, he must have signed something with WWE, which means he can't do the being part of the Owen Hart thing, which means that Vince McMahon offered him a Legends deal to keep him away from the Owen Hart thing. And people connected all of these dots because Dave Meltzer felt it was important to report that Bret must have quietly signed a deal. Or, I'm sorry, that people believed that Bret signed a deal. Not that he did it, but that people believed it. And then a bunch of people believed the report that said the people in AEW believed that Bret signed the deal. And then Bret would ultimately come out and say, well, hey, nobody even talked to me about the tournament. So he wasn't even asked to be a part of the tournament, which tracks because Bret doesn't get along with Owen's widow. And now we find out, again from Dave Meltzer, that Bret finally, I guess he finally picked up the phone and called Bret. And Bret said, no, I haven't signed any type of Legends deal with WWE. I just have a marketing deal with them. Yeah. You could have done this. You could have just called him the first time and then not said anything. See, that's what journalism is supposed to be. You're supposed to verify things before you talk about them. But Dave does not do that. Why? Because he needs you to get mad at WWE so that he can get traffic. Okay, so yes, he's exploiting making you angry at WWE so he can get traffic and get more subscriptions and make more money. Okay, and listen, you can get mad at WWE for free. Okay, they're going to do some things that make you mad, regardless of what Dave Meltzer reports. Okay. So anyhow, I hope you followed all of that. It really is just dumb. But now that we're finished with that, like I always do in these videos, I'm going to show you where you could have better spent your money than giving $12.99 to Dave Meltzer. Okay. Let me put on my glasses so I look more intelligent. Alrighty, here we go. Miles Morales, Spider-Man. Okay. $3.99. Nightwing, special issue where he's teaming up with the Flash. $3.99. So that's $8. And finally, World's Finest, Batman and Superman. $3.99. So that's $12 plus tax, $12.60, which is less than $12.99. Get three comic books for less than $12.99, and like I always say, the stories in these books are probably more accurate than anything you'll read in the Wrestling Observer. So anyhow, till next time, welcome back, Mustafa Ali. I'm sorry, Mustafa Ali. Let me say it right. Welcome back, and let's get that United States title. And for the rest of you guys, take care.